Alright, this is going to be my preview for UFC 136, Edgar versus Maynard III. I'm more excited about this than any wrestling show, so this year, actually, anyone. And there's been some big shows, more than Wrestle Kingdom, more than WrestleMania, which ended up sucking. Yeah, more than everything. And it's because it's either going to be this month's UFC or next month's 137 is going to easily be pay-per-view of the year in all of sport. I mean, Mayweather Ortiz wasted $70 or 60 or whatever it cost. I mean, Pacquiao versus Marquez will be worth money, but it won't deliver like this card will. There's one difference between this and boxing and wrestling. Usually they sell their card on one, maybe two matches. This card only needs to be sold in the main event, but it has two main events and just a stacked undercard. Even the fights that don't have star power have the possibility of being like fight of the year candidates. So it's it's that kind of a night. So yeah, let's kind of get to the preview. First, there's the preliminary cards on Spike, or not Spike, sorry, Facebook.com, and they're gonna be like probably 6 o'clock, 6:25, and I'm not too excited about these because I mean this card's gonna be so stacked. I'll be just drained by the time I get to the main card watching this. But I'm gonna watch it anyway because I'm a hardcore fan. It'll be Steve Cantwell versus Mike Masenzio in the opener. Then we have Aaron Simpson versus Eric Red Schaefer. Both of these fights are going to be good, but they're not going to be like, ooh, star power. Alright, then we have Zhang Tai Quan. I'm not good with Chinese. Versus Darren Elkins. Elkins is the guy who got the bullshit win against Omigawa when he clearly got his ass beat. But, you know, hopefully pretty much the only Chinese fighter in UFC can fuck him up. Get some more, notoriety in China. Alright, then we have our preliminary Facebook main event, which will be a banger. Joey Beltran versus Stipe Miocic. It's something like that. I don't know. He's American, but his name is, yeah, it's harder to pronounce than most Brazilian and Chinese fighters. Alright, then we have our Spike TV preliminary card, which everyone needs to see. I mean, the only reason why this stuff isn't on the main card is because there's just too much. There's just too much to fit on it. Anthony Showtime Pettis, arguably the most exciting fighter in the world, any sport, or wrestling. This guy did a running wall kick off the cage, which is like something from a Mortal Kombat or something, which is crazy. And he's fighting Jeremy Little Heathen Stevens, who's a very good lightweight with power in his hands. This should be a good fight, but I'm definitely going with Pettis in this one. Pettis is my boy. Alright, then we have a middleweight bout, which I'm very interested in. I can't believe it didn't make the main card. Demian Maia versus Jorge Santiago. Or George, I don't know. Yeah, it's Jorge. Yeah, I'm going to go with... see, both of these guys are world-class submission grapplers, so... But I give Maia the slight advantage there. And I think it'll be decided... maybe not in the stand-up, by who has the better stand-up. Normally you would say Santiago because he's like world-class kickboxer too, but Demian Maia's last fight, he wasn't really a great striker, and he came out and he kind of outstruck Mark Munoz, so that was pretty impressive. I think I'll go with Maia. I think Maia's just got a few small holes in his game, and once he patches those up, he's a championship caliber. Not against Silva. No one is, but... yeah. Alright, then we got the main card. Leonard Bad Boy Garcia versus Phan. This is a rematch from way back. This is 145 pounds. Featherweight. Yeah, this is just going to be two guys beating the shit out of each other. Spinning kicks. Punching combinations. Just two guys swinging at some point. That'll happen. If it goes to the ground, I'm not sure who to give the advantage to. You would give it to Phan normally, but Garcia trains with Donald Cerrone for like the last I don't know how many years, and I would say Donald Cerrone is one of the best jiu-jitsu guys in the world. Definitely the most underrated submission game. Because he'll take guys that are supposed to dominate him in submissions, and he'll escape everything they have and then tap them out. He's that kind of guy. So if Garcia's training with him, yeah, Garcia has a reckless style, which casual fans will love. I mean, anyone will. Where he just goes out and you're like, well, he could win this fight, but he'd rather just, have a shootout. Kind of shot for shot, just beating the crap out of each other. No protection, no head movement. But I think he needs to work on his head movement, and hopefully his submission defense at least is up to par with Phan, or he'll be going to sleep. I'm going with Phan. All right, then we have Joe Lauzon versus Melvin Young Assassin Guillard. Definitely going with Guillard in this. He's wanted to fight Lauzon for like 2 years. He called him out by name before, so I'm not sure why this took so long, but I got Guillard by assassination actually. Lauzon's gonna forget his last name for like a few minutes. He's gonna get hit hard, fast, and he won't know what hit him. Alright, then we have a huge fight, middleweight bout. The winner's definitely getting the next shot at Anderson Silva. It's Brian Stann versus Chael Sonnen. Now, Brian Stann's like he's a war hero. Chael Sonnen's used to talking shit about his opponents, but he won't talk shit about him. Probably because he's not Brazilian. Yeah. Yeah. Chael's actually keeping his mouth shut for once in his life, so it's less entertaining, sure, but it's more respectful, so that's good. You would have to go Sonnen, but I'm cheering for Brian Stann because Sonnen's a no-good piece of shit, and of course he was a Republican politician until he was stripped of that right. So yeah, it's pretty obvious. Sonnen's submission defense is shit, and Brian Stann has got actually a good submission grappling background, so I expect if it goes to the ground, I think Stan's going to win. Unless Sonnen's on top, then he might win with his really aggressive ground and pound. Sonnen's not really a finisher, though, and Stann is, so Stan's definitely got somewhat of an advantage in that field, but Sonnen's just really well-rounded, and he's the only guy that's ever really took it to Anderson Silva. You could say Chonin, but Silva was hurt. He wouldn't have been submitted otherwise. Alright, then we have our co-main event, Featherweight Championship of the World. Jose Aldo Jr. versus the challenger, Ken Florian. Kenny's ready. He's definitely ready. He doesn't go into any fight unprepared. People say, Dana White said he chokes in title matches, big match situations, but that's all done. If he loses this, it's going to be because he gets his ass beat. Jose has been unstoppable. He's the, I don't know, he's like the T1000 or something. I mean, liquid metal. He's just unreal. He hit a guy with a flying double knee. So you hit him with one knee and then the other before touching the ground. It's just insane. And for guys, a highlight reel and maybe the most exciting and scary fighter in the world. I mean, he gives Silva a run for his money, and he's always aggressive. He's never had a performance where he wasn't killing a guy, basically. Even if it's just leg kicks. He pretty much just destroyed Uriah Faber's legs. Yeah, man, that's going to be a huge fight. Big match situation, but Kenny Florian's got that kind of samurai fighting spirit, and he's got those elbows. If he can cut Aldo early on, and he keeps working, and the blood's in his eyes, and his nose is filling up with blood, and his mouth, Florian could tire him out and beat him down. I expect Kenny Florian to be in better shape than his last featherweight bout, which he was in good shape. He looked like the skeleton of Kenny Florian. Alright, then we have our main event, Lightweight Championship of the World. Rematch of the fight of the year from January, from New Year's Day, actually. I remember because I cut a hole in the ice and jumped in it that afternoon. And this was my medicine. Yeah, I'm crazy. 2 minutes. 2 minutes in ice. Water. Alright, Frank Edgar versus Gray Maynard, Lightweight Championship of the World. Their fight was classic, one of the greatest fights I've ever seen in mixed martial arts, boxing. I mean, this goes up there with Mickey Ward and Arturo Gatti. Not quite as good, obviously, but it's in that category. And one reason why is, and it's similar to Gotti versus Ward, is Frank Edgar got nailed early on. And then Maynard just kept following it up, and he was hurting him. Maynard's legs were gone, and he was just kind of wobbling around. Like, he comes out in the next round, starts fighting, starts banging, gets this huge. He does basically a powerbomb spinebuster combination, and this guy is a legitimate like 145 pounder throwing around a big 155er, and yeah, a little tiny guy does that, and you're like, well, there goes the strength disadvantage that he had in the first fight, because the first fight, the bully Gray Maynard just held him down and kind of beat on him and just controlled him. It wasn't the greatest. But this fight was classic, and it kept going back and forth, and it ended in a draw. The fans booed it, obviously, but I honestly couldn't see who won it. There's a debate. It's got to be at the very least, it's like it's 50-50. I mean, I don't think you can really give anyone the win. The people always argue for their favorite. My favorite is Frank Edgar, but I would say that that was a draw. I couldn't really score it any other way. So for once, the judges made a good decision. I mean, no one could have scored that fight without personal bias getting in the way. Otherwise, you had to draw. Alright, so there is a countdown I will leave in the description box. If you've never checked out MMA, or you wanted to, or you've never seen a full show, this is definitely the show to check out, but you must watch the countdown special first. I challenge you to watch that whole thing that I'm posting in the description box and not wanting to order it. It's going to be well worth the money, and even the free stuff on TV, Maia and Santiago and Pettis and Stevens, are just that alone on free TV. I mean, you got to at least take advantage of that. And it's just ridiculous that that's free. It reminds me of the WEC days when they give you the best fights for free. Anyway, yeah, 136 is Edgar versus Maynard. 3, Aldo versus Florian. Sonnen versus Stann. Lauzon versus Guillard. Garcia versus Phan. Maia versus Santiago, and Pettis versus Stevens will be this Saturday night on pay-per-view, and it's either going to be card of the year, or the next card will be with GSP versus Condit and Diaz versus BJ Penn. Alright, this has been my preview, so enjoy it. Definitely watch it, and check out the description box. It's going to blow you away. It's unbelievable. I'll post another video on that where it's really cool. It's a bunch of people debating over who won, Edgar versus Maynard. And it goes all over the world. It's like people playing in like Xbox Live, and people on the beach, and just everyone having arguments, couples, and it's just really cool stuff. And that's you might not get it, but if you've seen the fights, you'll definitely get it. Great video, and I'll post it along with the countdown links. Alright guys, this is going to be a huge fight card. We're going to get fight of the year, submission of the year, knockout of the year possibilities. I mean, there's going to be a lot of great stuff. And yeah, tune in. And if you watch The Ultimate Fighter, obviously it's tomorrow night at 9, or 10, sorry. I think it's 10. So check that out too. It's looking pretty good. 145s and 135s, which are the two most exciting divisions in the world, and 155. Alright. Man, I'm excited. Later. UFC.